So yeah, I wanted to get you hyped on EA Play, E3, both happening very, very soon. I'm heading out to LA this Thursday. I'm super excited to start rolling in some new content for the channel. It's going to be so awesome. Be on the lookout for some things happening very, very soon. Both of these are going to be happening on the website, so keep checking back there. And make sure you subscribe to the channel here for some gameplay. 1. Need for Speed. There's going to be some gameplay posted here on the channel on Saturday, so be on the lookout for that. 2, the next Forza game, I would say expect some gameplay on the channel very, very soon. I'm going to have some stuff that you guys might be very excited about, so stay tuned and stay subscribed. Sort of 3 and 4 mini points, the Crew 2 gameplay, if you're excited about that, I'm gonna have a video on that as well, and 4, GT Sport as well, again, sort of possibly gonna have a video on that as well. If there's anything else from EA Play or E3 at all that you'd like me to cover here on the channel or on the website, please let us know in the comments down below, and I will either have a video about it or some articles on the website, so keep checking back. Anyways, in this video, I wanted to do some predictions. I wanted to make some predictions about what you can expect from Forza at E3 this year. I'm super excited about this. So a couple of weeks ago, Alan had the chance to sit down with Mr. Dan Greenawalt, who probably is going to go on stage on Sunday and announce Forza Motorsport 7 to the world. So now Alan got to interview him for like 20 minutes and wrote a bunch of articles about it. If you'd like to check it out, I will include a link in the description down below, and you can check out the full interview down there. But I wanted to touch upon the highlights in this video and talk about sort of my predictions for E3 based on that interview. So, firstly, let's talk about the release date of the next Forza game. Now, here's the thing. Usually, Forza games launch in September. They've done that pretty consistently for the past couple of years. However, this year's a little bit different because Project Scorpio is coming out this year as well. However, Project Scorpio is coming out October, November. Now, we know the next Forza game's obviously going to be on Project Scorpio, so we have to ask ourselves a question. Do we think the next Forza game is going to launch earlier in September, just for the regular Xbox One that's out now, or do we think that the next Forza game is going to be delayed, so it goes on Project Scorpio and the current Xbox One that's out now, so they both ship, like, consistently? I don't really know. I wanted to give both sort of, like, options out there and leave it up to you guys, what release date you guys think is more plausible. You can let me know in the comments down below, but if I had to pick one, I would say September. Anyways, obviously I mentioned the next Forza game playing on Project Scorpio. It should be pretty cool. We know already it's going to be playing in 4K. We got the screenshot of Forza 6 playing on 4K on Project Scorpio, and they said it was actually a pretty easy thing to do. So I would not be surprised at all if the next Forza game is 4K. I think we can all agree that that's going to be a thing. Anyways, let's move it on from Project Scorpio and release dates and stuff like that and talk about something else that I think could be pretty big happening at E3. One of the things we've seen a big rise of recently has been Forza RC and Forza eSports in general. So just for Forza RC, in Season 1 and Season 2, they had nearly, or between 30,000 and 40,000 participants, which is insane. We've also seen additions to Forza Motorsport 6 a year after the game was out, which usually isn't a thing for Forza games, and where they included things like the eSports update, which gave us features like the grid ordering, walking down the grid even, and things like that in the whole spectator mode. I would not be surprised at all if we saw a big push for this next Forza game to include eSports, maybe every month or seasons like they're already doing with Forza RC. I'm not exactly sure, but I would expect a big sort of esports push from Forza at E3. So let's move it on from esports and talk about the other big thing that recently happened with Forza, their partnership with Porsche. If you haven't heard yet, Forza teamed up with Porsche with a 6-year deal that's happening. So the next 6 years, you can expect Porsche to be in Forza from launch. You've also seen both sort of brands working quite closely together. If you look back at things like the New York Auto Show or the Porsche Cup that happened in New York, things like that, you've seen them work quite closely together. And if you actually go and take the time to go and read the Dan interview, you will have a look at some of the things he said. He mentioned some big partners that they've worked with in the past and how they plan to do similar things with Porsche as well. Dan mentioned brands like Lamborghini, Audi, people like that. If you go and read the article, they're all up there. Anyways, I don't know if I'm the only one who sort of like wanted to read between the lines there, but it almost looked like Porsche could have been a cover car. All of the brands he mentioned were recently cover cars, so Porsche is the next cover car? I don't know. I don't want to make that claim a thing, but It's possible. Anyways, one of the things I think you will see is because Forza hasn't had Porsche in them for a very long time, I think you can see them making it clear to you that that Porsche is going to be in this next Forza game from launch. Just talking about the cars a little bit more, I wanted to talk about Volkswagen. Obviously, Volkswagen was never in Forza Horizon 3. The whole diesel stuff completely ruined that for the game, and that sucks, obviously. Now, we've already seen with Need for Speed Payback, for instance, we've seen a Volkswagen in the back of there. So is Volkswagen sort of done with their kind of shit fit about the whole diesel stuff? So can we expect to see them in games again? I would say so, if I'm honest. So let's move it away from cars and into tracks. Let's talk about some tracks. Now, during this interview that Alan had with Dan, he asked him a pretty interesting question. He asked him what his favorite track was over the entire Forza franchise. And Dan had kind of an interesting answer, actually. He said his favorite track ever was Maple Valley. Now, does this hold any weight in sort of meaning that Maple Valley is coming back? Probably not, if I'm honest. Like, yeah, it might be his favorite track. It's probably been his favorite track for quite a while. I mean, we haven't seen it in Forza 5. We haven't seen it in Forza 6. Could we see it in the next Forza game? Possibly. Would I love to? Hell freaking yeah. So, Forza, if you're watching this, Maple Valley, just chuck that one in, please. But could we see the return of Maple Valley? For sure we could, but will we? Yeah. I also wanted to talk briefly about a track called Pacific Raceway. Now, Pacific Raceway is an interesting track because when Forza was moving from the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One, obviously that transition meant that they had to upgrade their textures and stuff. When they were rescanning a bunch of the tracks, they actually did some tracks for the first time ever, things like Prague and Spa and places like that. Now, one of the tracks that they also laser scanned was a place called Pacific Raceway. Now, Pacific Raceway is up in Seattle, and it was never included in a Forza game before. However, they have the entire thing scanned from top to bottom. So I just sort of wanted to mention this track briefly. You can go and look it up for yourself. Forza went and scanned this track a couple of years ago, so they have all the information about it. Could we see this track implemented? Again, maybe. They've had it since before Forza 5 came out, so will we see it? Nah. Other things I just want to make some predictions on, being one, weather. I can definitely see us getting some new weather. We know in Forza Horizon 3, they made the sky such a big deal. It looks so good. The guy had a 12K camera taking pictures of the goddamn sky. I would not at all be surprised if it's the same thing for the next Forza game. Finally, will we ever see night and rain at the same time? Probably. Anyways, that's gonna be it about this sort of like what you can expect at E3 type of thing. Other than just tracks and cars being thrown at you, I think we will see some big features as well come. Now, I don't really know what sort of made the cut. We'll have to see on Sunday, so if you're excited for that, make sure you subscribe here to the channel and keep checking back on the website because all of the information you're going to need is going to be on both of those places. So yeah, other than that, you can check out the wish list for Forza Motorsport 7. I'll link to it in the description down below. You guys can check it out for yourself. I'm very excited to see what Forza has in store for us. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will keep you up to date. Make sure you follow on Twitter so you can know exactly when everything's happening and what news comes out. Be on the lookout this Sunday. Yeah, I'll say that. Okay, bye!